November 20th, 1969. Apollo 12 slams a lunar module into the moon, and what happens next is straight out of a sci-fi movie. The moon starts ringing like a bell. Not for a minute, not for 10, but for 55 wild minutes. NASA's top brass are losing their fucking minds, staring at seismic readouts that make zero sense for a solid rock. So, what do? You know what they do. They slap a big, fat classified stamp on the data and tuck it away like a used condom wrapper. But here's the twist. What if everything we've been spoon-fed about the moon is total bullshit? What if the truth isn't just hidden? It's the exact opposite of what we were told. Buckle up, because I'm fixing to drop receipts that'll crack this moon conspiracy wide open. Well. Y'all ready to poke some holes in the official moon story? Kick ass! I'm Uncle Perry, and we're looking into that big glowing rock, the moon. We're prying open the secrets it's been hiding for thousands of years. I'm not talking about the bedtime story version you got in school. I'm talking about the moon as a cosmic riddle, a mystery wrapped in tinfoil, dangling right over our heads, while the powers that be hope we don't stop and smell the lies. Now, you know my style. I don't do shallow dives or polite fucking tiptoeing around. I dig deep. I flip over every stone, and I'm not pulling any punches. When it comes to lunar mysteries, I'm not just reading Wikipedia and calling it a fucking night. I'm scouring classified documents, digging through dusty archives, and piecing together the kind of evidence mainstream science is too chicken shit to cover. If there's a rabbit hole, you can bet your ass I'm diving down it, flashlight in one hand and balls in the other. So, what's the deal with this hollow moon theory? Believe it or not, it didn't start with your sister's stoned boyfriend in the basement last week. The roots go all the way back to the 1970s when a couple of Soviet scientists looked at the lunar data and had the guts to say, "Hey, this thing might actually be hollow, maybe even artificial." They weren't alone either. The more you dig, the more you find. Seismic readings that don't add up. Craters that stop at the same depth like they've hit a steel plate. And ancient legends that talk about a time before the moon showed up. But here's where it gets juicy. Mainstream science wants nothing to do with it. They'll twist themselves into verbal pretzels to explain away the weird seismic data, or why some moon rocks are older than the Earth itself. They'll ignore ancient stories because admitting the moon might be hollow, or, God forbid, even built, means peeling back layers they never wanted us to question. So strap in. We're cracking open classified NASA files, dusting off ancient accounts, and connecting dots that most people are too scared or too paid off to even see. This isn't just about the moon. It's about how twisted the truth really is. Let's kick things off in the heart of Africa with the Zulu people. Now, the Zulus don't just have legends. They've got a whole cosmic saga. Their shamans talk about a time when there was no moon in the sky. Earth was just spinning out there, minding its own business, until one day the moon gets towed into orbit, and with it, the reptilians. Yeah, you heard me. Fucking lizard people rolling up from the stars, dragging the moon with them like it's their intergalactic U-Haul emotional support planet. According to the Zulu, These cosmic engineers hollowed out a planetoid and parked it right above our heads, all to control the tides, the weather, and, most importantly, us. And if you think that's all wild as shit, another group of people said, "Hold my beer." Halfway across the world, the Sumerians were writing down the same kind of story, only with a little more math and a whole lot more stone tablets. The Sumerian cuneiform texts described the moon as an artificial satellite built and placed into orbit by the Anunnaki. These weren't just gods, they were engineers, astronomers, and, let's be honest, the first interplanetary landlords. Their records say Earth once spun faster, the tides were different, and the weather was a downright shit show. That is, until the moon was parked up there and everything changed. Coincidentally, the Zulu and the Sumerians both have stories explaining the moon was put up there by two brothers. Before we bust out those kick-ass tinfoil hats, let's hit on what mainstream science says is the origin of the moon. The Theia impact hypothesis, or the giant impact hypothesis. Imagine, 4.5 billion years ago, a Mars-sized planet called Theia slams into a young, molten Earth. The aftermath? Debris from both worlds swirl together, birthing the moon, a cosmic love child from an interplanetary doggy style. But if the moon's just Earth's leftovers, why do we find minerals up there that don't exist on this planet? Changasite Y, uranium-236, neptunium-237. Hell, some of those rocks are even older than Earth itself. Those radioactive elements, we only see them on Earth when we make them in a lab. If the official story's just a cosmic car crash, why does our moon still look suspiciously perfect, round, bright, and always keeping the same side turned our way? The sun is about 400 times further from Earth than the moon, and the sun is also 400 times bigger than the moon. That's why from down here, the moon fits perfectly over the sun during an eclipse. The moon's orbit? Freakishly precise. It's tidally locked, so we always see the same side. Unlike most moons which spin and wobble, ours circles in eerie sync, way too big and way too close compared to any other planet-moon combo out there. Convenient if someone, or something, wants to keep an eye on us. And get this, computer simulations show that without the moon, Earth's axis would wobble like your drunken uncle at a wedding. No consistent seasons, no stable climate. Life would be a hell of a lot harder. When humans finally touched down on the moon, NASA's Apollo missions accidentally served up one of the weirdest lunar mysteries ever. During Apollo 12, astronauts crashed their lunar module into the surface, expecting a dull thud. But seismic sensors picked up the moon ringing like a bell for nearly an hour. Dr. Maurice Ewing, the scientist in charge, famously said, "It's as though someone had struck a bell." Not to be outdone, Apollo 13 slammed a 15-ton rocket booster into the moon, and this time the ringing lasted over 3 fucking hours, with vibrations traveling 20 miles deep, way longer than you'd get from a solid rock. Moreover, the moon's basalt surface should absorb impacts, not echo them. Dr. Clive Neal from Notre Dame found seismic evidence pointing to a shell-like structure beneath the surface, but most of that juicy data is still locked away in NASA's vaults, gathering dust next to your cousin's patent leather dominatrix outfits. Scientist and astronomer Carl Sagan said a natural satellite cannot be a hollow object. If the moon is hollow, it would have had to have been hollowed out artificially, not naturally. And we humans sure as fuck couldn't have done it. So is the moon an extraterrestrial creation? The folks that would know say not only is it an alien creation, it's a goddamn spaceship. Both NASA and the Soviets went full mad scientist on the moon, crashing hardware, poking at lunar mysteries, and basically tripping every cosmic alarm bell they could find. Even Maurice Ewing, the seismic boss, admits, "It's as though someone had struck a bell." Meanwhile, the Soviets' Luna 15 probe crashes and beams back eerily similar hollow readings. Soviet scientists Mikhail Vosin and Alexander Shcherbakov don't sugarcoat it. In Sputnik magazine, they lay it out. The crater depth suggests a 2.5-mile thick outer shell loaded with tough, space-worthy metals like chromium, titanium, and zirconium. If you were building a cosmic battleship, you'd use this stuff. Their conclusion? The moon's a hollow, metal-shelled spacecraft parked in orbit by unknown intelligences. Not a metaphor, not a joke, a straight-up scientific report. Ancient records worldwide, Greek, Mayan, Egyptian, South American, all describe a time before the moon. When that artificial boulder suddenly appeared, it brought global chaos, floods, new seasons, new gods, new rulers. One planetary arrival, one worldwide shockwave. So, what do we have? Ancient legends matching up with modern science. So we have two modern Russian scientists hypothesizing that the moon was brought to Earth, and ancient mythology corroborates that. Seismic data that says the moon is more drum than stone. Density numbers that scream hollow. Astronauts reporting metallic clangs when they smack the surface. Soviet and American scientists both peeking behind the curtain and seeing the same damn thing. The moon isn't what we've been told. And yet, mainstream science just pusses out. They'll tell you it's all just coincidence or unusual geology or some other horseshit excuse. But the evidence is there. Hell, take a look at the crew of Apollo 11 at a press conference they had after they had completed their historic, groundbreaking mission. They don't look excited or even happy. They look bummed out, scared, and in dire need of something stronger than alcohol. This doesn't make any sense. They should be overwhelmed with pride and happiness to be the first human being to step foot on the moon. I mean, they look like your mother-in-law when she's told there's no more boxed wine and the liquor store's closed. Why is that? Maybe it was something they discovered on the mission. Whatever it was, it doesn't look good. Next up, we're digging into the classified files, the shadowy government memos, and the stuff they really don't want you to know about. Just like your mom, the deeper we go, the weirder it gets. And if you're still with me, comment, "I'm still here," because you're exactly the kind of curious bastard I want with me on this ride. You ever get that feeling that the moon isn't just a dead rock, but a cosmic neighbor with a no trespassing sign on their front porch? We're about to peel back the lunar curtain and stare straight into the eye of the alien fortress theory. The idea that our little nightlight is less a natural satellite and more of a locked-down interstellar Death Star. Let's kick things off with the orbital photos NASA doesn't want to talk about. High-res shots from Apollo, Clementine, and even modern probes show more than just pockmarked craters. We're talking about entrances, dark, perfectly circular holes, some over 100 meters wide, that lead straight down into the Mare Tranquillitatis and the Oceanus Procellarum. Scientists try to pass these off as collapsed lava tubes, but these aren't random cave-ins. They're spaced out like subway stops. But the weirdness doesn't stop with what you can see. It's what you can hear, or at least what the Apollo astronauts heard, that'll really bake your noodle. While orbiting around the dark side of the moon, they picked up radio signals that made NASA's comms teams start shitting bricks. During Apollo 10, astronauts intercepted mysterious music coming from their headsets while orbiting the moon. Static? Cosmic radiation? NASA's official statement is, it's just interference. But the frequencies didn't match anything natural, and they sure as hell didn't come from Houston. Here's the audio from Apollo 10 as they got around to the far side of the moon. I cranked up the music part so you can hear it better. Check it out.
You want some more brownies? Now. First, I'm a little hungry. That music even sounds outer spacey, doesn't it? You hear that? That whistling sound? Yeah. Woo! Hey, just... Yeah, it sounds like, outer space type music.
Here's the crazy thing. Soviet lunar missions picked up the same damn thing. If the moon's empty, then who the hell's sending the signals? But if you really want to get down and dirty, let's talk about the moon's far side, the ultimate do not disturb zone. Why does the moon always keep the same face pointed at Earth? Tidal locking, they say. But that far side is the most heavily cratered, the most shielded, and the least explored. Every probe that's tried to get a good look has either glitched out or gone silent. Apollo never landed there. And when China's Chunghwa 4 finally touched down, their data feed mysteriously went dark for hours. If you're hiding an alien base or a fleet of alien ships, what better place than the one spot no Earthling can see? There are credible whistleblowers that have been taken to a base on the far side of the moon, and that this base was a part of a network of bases that are set up by various secret space programs and extraterrestrial civilizations. Several Apollo missions have taken surveillance photos of the moon's surface, and some of the pictures have shown what looks like structures. And just when you think you've heard it all, the stories from the astronauts themselves start to leak out. The Apollo crews were a lot of things, but liars? Not so much. Multiple mission transcripts, some declassified, some leaked, describe objects following the lunar modules, swooping over the surface, or just plain hovering above craters. Shit, Buzz Aldrin himself said they saw lights pacing them all the way to the moon. NASA's official answer? Ice crystals. Sure, and I'm the tooth fairy. Even amateur astronomers have filmed strange flashes, moving lights, and shadows darting across the lunar surface. Someone's up there, and it seems like whoever it is doesn't really give a shit if we know it. Now, if you're still not convinced the moon's got secrets, consider its orbit. The moon's orbit is too perfect. It's the only satellite in the solar system with a circular path that keeps it at just the right distance to cause perfect solar eclipses. Coincidence? Or is there someone actively maintaining its position? Some theorists say the moon is loaded with tech, gravity generators, electromagnetic stabilizers, maybe even cloaking fields to hide what's really going on beneath the surface. Every time a probe gets too close or a telescope zooms in, the data gets fuzzy, the signals scramble, and the official story gets another layer of bullshit. So, what do we have? Entrances that look like hangar doors, geometric ruins in the dust, radio signals that scream intelligent life, and a whole lot of missing data. You've got all the makings of an alien fortress hiding in plain sight. Is it a mining base? A monitoring station? Or a planetary quarantine zone? Hell, maybe all three. But one thing's for sure, the moon isn't just a passive bystander in the night sky. It's active, it's guarded, and it's hiding secrets that make Area 51 look like a Florida roadside attraction. What lunar anomaly creeps you out the most? The geometric craters? The radio signals? The flashing lights? Let me know in the comments. Coming up next, we're diving into the cover-ups, where the real secrets start to unravel and shit gets crazy. Now we're diving headfirst into the cover-ups, where the moon's secrets aren't just hidden, they're locked down, classified, and buried under layers of red tape and ridicule. It all started getting fishy after the astronauts of Apollo 12 crashed their lunar module into the surface and it rang like a bell. Within 48 hours, NASA scooped up every scrap of seismic data and slapped a big old hairy-ass top-secret label on it. Scientists on the project were shuffled off to other assignments, and the seismic tapes vanished into the same vault as the Roswell debris. Dr. Frank Press, the guy leading the seismic team, went from talking shit to stone-cold silence. When pressed, he'd just mutter something about national security and change the subject. That's because in 1960, NASA commissioned a report to weigh the implications of the discovery of extraterrestrial life. In the report, it was determined before any of the moon missions that any extraterrestrial findings will be withheld from the public for fear of everybody losing their shit. But the cover-up didn't stop at NASA's door. Of course not. Government agencies you've probably never heard of started dropping in on universities, quietly shutting down any research that got even close to lunar anomalies. The National Science Foundation began rejecting grant proposals that even mentioned hollow moon or unusual lunar structure. Careers were torpedoed overnight, funding disappeared, and papers that once sailed through peer review got tossed in the reject pile with the polite, "not suitable for publication." If you were brave or reckless enough to keep digging, you quickly found yourself out of a job or teaching high school physics in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. Take Dr. Sean Solomon, a geophysicist whose calculations showed the moon's density just didn't add up. Too light for its size, with big voids where solid rock should be. He tried to publish his findings, and every major journal slammed the door in his face. Not because his math was bad, but because, as one editor said, "the implications are too extraordinary for our readership." Solomon's academic career fizzled. He was quietly shown the door at MIT and ended up teaching kids how to balance chemical equations in rural Montana. And let's talk about the scientific community's response to all this. Instead of chasing down the weirdness, like good scientists should, they circled the wagons and started parroting the same tired lines. Tidal locking explains everything.
Low density, perfectly normal for a differentiated body. Seismic anomalies, just layering.
It's like watching a herd of ostriches bury their heads while the predator circles closer. They're not explaining, they're deflecting. In the meantime, their mainstream explanations don't explain shit. Tidal locking tells you why the same side faces Earth, but not why the moon's orbit is so perfectly circular. Differentiated formation sounds fancy, but it doesn't explain why seismic waves echo like they're bouncing through empty chambers. It's all smoke and mirrors, technical jargon meant to keep you from asking, wait, does that make sense? And the origin story, the giant impact hypothesis, is so full of holes you could use it to strain pasta. The math just doesn't work. The chemical fingerprints are too similar, and the odds of it happening the way they say are laughably low, if not nearly impossible. But it's the only story that doesn't require admitting the moon might be artificial and hollow. So they cling to it like your uncle with that last beer. Why are they so desperate to keep you from questioning the moon's origin? Simple. Because if the moon is artificial, everything we think we know about our place in the universe gets flipped on its head. It means we're not alone, and we never have been. And the people in charge have been sitting on that truth for over 50 years. Now, if you're a scientist brave or crazy enough to go public with hollow moon theories, you get the full media takedown. Instant punchline, labeled a crank, a pseudo-scientist, a tinfoil hat wearing weirdo. Your research gets lumped in with flat Earth and ancient aliens, no matter how solid your credentials or thorough your work. The message is clear. Question the moon, and your career is toast. Even NASA's own Dr. Robin Brett once said, "It seems easier to explain the non-existence of the moon than its existence." That quote slipped into a scientific journal in 1973, and Brett never got quoted about the moon again. Coincidence? Not fucking likely. From government gatekeepers to academic hitmen to late-night talk show ridicule, it's a coordinated effort to keep you in the dark about the biggest mystery in our solar system. All right, truth seekers, here's where I plant my flag. After sifting through all the classified files, stonewalled scientists, and government smokescreens, I'm calling it. Our moon is no random space rock. It's an alien spacecraft. A fucking mothership parked in orbit, keeping tabs on humanity since we first started rubbing sticks together and saying, "Fire! Fire!" Let that shit sink in. If the moon is hollow, artificial, older than anything in our solar system, and packed with tech beyond our wildest Star Trek dreams, then everything we've been spoon-fed about the solar system is total bullshit. The texts? Outdated. The settled science? More like settled dust. We're not just another planet with a lucky moon. We're under surveillance. Maybe even quarantine. Somebody or something wanted to make sure we know who's really running the show behind the curtain. But you don't have to take my word for it. The evidence is out there, hidden in declassified Apollo mission transcripts, buried in seismic data NASA tried to lock away, and scattered in the stories of researchers who got blackballed for asking the wrong goddamn questions. Dig in, download the docs, Read between the lines. Don't let the talking heads and late-night asshole comedians tell you what's crazy or impossible. There's a 100% scientifically valid reason to conclude that our moon is an extraterrestrial spacecraft brought here by ETs to assist mankind. For some folks like myself, we're okay with that. For others, it scares the shit out of them. If you think there's a lot more to this story than we're being told, tap that like button and subscribe. That way you won't miss out on more of my fucked up commentary. And besides, I really do appreciate it. So, what do y'all think? Is the moon really an alien spaceship, or just a big rock with an assload of weird coincidences? Let me know down in the comments. And if you're ready to crank that shit up to 11, that join button's got your name on it. For just $2.99, you can have my back in a huge way. Until next time, y'all keep it real, keep it chill, and stay creepy! Catch you on the flip. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. You are the real beast.